In many African and Asian cities, people didn't wait for transport infrastructure. They moved first, they built homes first, and they found jobs first. And only later did the city ask, so how exactly are all these people supposed to move every day? This episode of the course Urban Transportation in Developing Countries is about transportation infrastructure gaps. Not in theory, not on paper, but on the street, in traffic, on buses, and inside overcrowded vehicles. Urban transport infrastructure in developing cities is often not missing, it's just outnumbered.
I'm Ushman Masumi, it's Urban History.
A transport infrastructure gap is the difference between how many trips a city generates every day and how many trips its transport system can handle efficiently. This includes road capacity, public transport coverage, rail length, station density, sidewalks, and intermodal connections. In rapidly urbanizing cities, trip demand grows much faster than transport supply. The city adds people, transport adds excuses. Let's talk trips. In megacities of the global south, 60 to 80% of all daily trips are work, education, or service related. Daily trips often exceed 20 to 30 million per city. Examples: Cairo, about 25 million daily trips. Bangkok, about 22 million daily trips. Jakarta metro area, about 30 million. Lagos, about 24 million daily trips. And Nairobi, about 8 million. Transport systems were never designed for this scale, especially not this fast. The math stopped working years ago. Road infrastructure is often the first thing cities expand. But here is the problem. Road lengths grow slowly, while vehicle numbers grow fast. In many African and Asian cities, population grows 3 to 5% per year. Vehicle ownership grows 6 to 10% per year, and road network growth stays below 2% per year. Examples: Dhaka, only 6 to 7% of land area is roads. Lagos, road density far below global averages. And Nairobi, vehicle numbers doubled in about 15 years. And the result? Chronic congestion and competition between cars, buses, motorcycles, and pedestrians. Every new vehicle arrives convinced it will be the last one. High-capacity public transportation is the backbone of efficient mobility, but it's also expensive, slow to build, and politically risky. Metro and rail lines cost about $100 to $300 million per kilometer and take 10 to 20 years from idea to operation. By the time a line opens, the city has already expanded outward, added hundreds of thousands of residents, and generated new travel patterns. Examples: Bangkok BTS and MRT. They are excellent where they exist, but still cover a limited share of metro trips. Cairo Metro, about 4 million passengers per day, but vast areas remain unserved. Jakarta MRT, decades late relative to city growth. The train arrives, the city has moved on. Bangkok is a perfect case. The city urbanized rapidly in the 1980s and 2000s, motorized early, and built roads before mass transit. When rail finally arrived, it was high quality, efficient, and popular. But rail network density remains low. Many commuters still rely on cars, buses, and motorcycles, and average commute times remain between 60 to 90 minutes. Bangkok shows that good transit alone is not enough, and scale and coverage matter. A perfect line that doesn't reach you is just urban decoration. Buses should be the workhorses of developing cities, but many systems suffer from mixed traffic, lack of priority lanes, poor stations, and overcrowding. BRT systems help, but only where implemented well. Examples: Lagos BRT reduced travel times by 30 to 40% on corridors. Jakarta Transjakarta, one of the world's largest BRT systems, yet still overcrowded. In Nairobi, BRT plans delayed for years while congestion worsens. In many African and Asian cities, 30 to 50% of all trips are made on foot or by bike. Yet, sidewalks are missing, crossings are unsafe, and cycling infrastructure is minimal. Transport planning often ignores the fact that walking is the dominant mode for the poor, unsafe walking increases accidents, and lack of sidewalks reduces mobility access. Cities invest billions in highways and forget the cheapest transport system of all. Transport systems don't fail only because of missing lines. They fail because connections are weak. There are some common gaps: no safe access to stations, poor last-mile connections, long transfer distances, and uncoordinated schedules. A rail line without feeders serves far fewer people than it could. Infrastructure exists, connectivity doesn't. When formal transport can't keep up, paratransit expands, motorcycles multiply, and informal routes appear. These systems respond instantly to demand, cover unserved areas, and reduce walking distances. But they also increase congestion, raise accident risks, and worsen emissions. Informal transport is not the problem, it's the symptom. Transport infrastructure lags because planning is slow, land acquisition is difficult, funding is limited, coordination is weak, and politics favor quick fixes. Meanwhile, trips grow daily, housing expands outward, and congestion worsens. Transport plans think in decades. Commuters think in minutes. Transport infrastructure gaps lead to longer commutes, higher travel costs, reduced job access, congestion losses of 2 to 5% of GDP in many cities, and increased inequality. The poor pay more in time, in money, and in safety. Transport gaps don't just slow cities, they divide them. Many cities build iconic metro lines, landmark bridges, and signature highways. But gaps persist because coverage is limited, everyday bus systems remain weak, and walking access is ignored. Big projects make maps look good, but small connections make cities work. Across African and Asian cities, trip demand grows faster than transport supply. Vehicle growth outpaced road capacity, and transit coverage lags behind sprawl. This explains congestion, overcrowding, and reliance on informal systems. The transport gap is not a mystery, it's arithmetic. At the core, this is not just engineering. It's about institutional capacity, coordination between land use and transport, funding priorities, and political choices. Transport fails when governance can't scale with the city. Now, as usual, let's turn this to your city. Which transport gap affects you most? Roads, buses, rail, or walking infrastructure? Is your city adding people faster than transport capacity? Do informal modes fill the gaps where formal systems fail? Does new transport reach most people or only a few corridors? And if your city could invest in one transport improvement tomorrow, what would reduce travel time the most? Share your city and your daily mobility experience in the comments. Transport gaps are global, but everyone feels them differently. The next episode of this course will be on when transport systems fail, informality, adaptation, and urban survival. Let's keep following how cities move when infrastructure falls behind.